Hey, welcome to the Parts Girl podcast. I'm super excited to be interviewing Billy. I already forgot. Billy Milone. I said it right.
You did.
The American way, I
Yes,
guess.
the American
But
way, not the
anyway,
Italian way.
welcome to the show, Billy. Can you quickly introduce, who you are, where you work, and how you got into the industry?
Well, happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I've been in this business for 40 years. Started off working on cars as a lube guy. And back then it was stocking shelves with the oil cans, which we don't use anymore. But then worked my way up into management. And now I'm at a Kia dealer in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Oh, very cool. And that's a newer switch, right? You're
Yes,
kind of,
I've been here. This is my sixth month.
oh, okay. So
Yes.
kind of new.
Kind of new. Yeah, it is kind of new.
So you probably made some progress, which we're probably going to talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
And did you tell us how you got in? Oh yeah, you started as
How I got into it is in high school. I didn't really like high school, and I knew I wasn't going to college. So they said, "Well, you can go to Wilson Tech and half a day at school and half a day at Wilson Tech and work on cars." I'm like, "Okay, I'll do that." And here I am, 40 years later.
wow, that's really cool. And no one in your family was like in the industry at all, or
Not one person. Nope.
but it was something that you learned from going to school.
So I learned, there was 2 years, 11th to 12th grade. So 12th grade, I was able to actually go to work for half a day. Actually, for 4 days out of the 5, I'd go to work. I'd go to school for half a day, and then I'd go to work the rest of the week. And I'd actually make money. So I was like, okay, 18 years old, 17 years old, having a job, making money. This sounds like fun.
Absolutely. I think there's still some programs kind of similar to that where you get credit, or at least I know it wasn't like I worked or went to school half day, but I got credit for having a job. And it was like a school, or it was like a class, and I had to report my hours that I was working, and I had to lie because I worked too many hours. By law, you're not allowed to work.
No, I know. By law, you only had to have a certain amount of hours. And that's what I actually have apprentices now here, where I have, 4 of them, and they're from one of the local high schools that want to get into the automotive industry. Same thing. I got to fill the paperwork for them. They're only a certain amount of hours, but it's a good way to start.
It's a great way to start. And so you want to talk about some team building and things that you've been going through. So coming into a newer store, or not a newer store, but coming in as the new manager, let's talk about that. Because I think that a lot of fixed ops directors go through that, where they get into a new store. And what's your process? You have a method?
I do. I'll come in, and of course, when you come in, and I know many fixed ops directors out there have the same, or service managers, that, okay, who is this guy coming in? He's going to come in, because everybody's conception is he's going to come in and make changes. They're not going to like you. You're the new guy. What's he like? So everybody's pretty much standoffish. Everybody's like, they want to look at you like they want to kill you. And it's just, I just remember a conversation I had with my wife, one of the places I went to, and she goes, "Well, how is everybody?" This was a Chrysler store. And you know how I feel about Chrysler. But she goes, "Well, how was it?" I said, "Well, everybody seemed okay, but there was this one guy that looked at me like he wanted to just put me in a pot and cook me. And he just wanted like it was a death stare." But you get past that and you build relationships. Like usually the first 2 weeks, I'll observe and I'll see, who does what does who, and who's the first person that can become my liaison? Who's that first person I'm going to build that relationship with, that, well, I'll get on my team that everybody looks up to. So it's either a shop foreman or a lead advisor or someone like that. So I start with them first, and then I build a relationship with them.
Do you feel like you get like those first couple weeks, they're like, I don't want to call it a honeymoon stage, but you don't get the real them. They're like on their best behavior, probably. Or
I mean, yes and no, but you can, I've done a lot of research and learning from podcasts and other people about just how to read people. And usually within the first few days, first week or so, you pretty much know who's going to be on your team or who's going to give you a hard time. But in my opinion, honestly, it's up to me. It's up to the individual. If I'm going to build a relationship with you, I'm going to put forth the effort to build that relationship with you. And I feel, in the past, maybe like even here where I am now, I definitely know in the past as far as the leadership that was here, didn't take that time to build the relationship. It never came in and said, okay, you're doing it this way because I'm the director, I'm the boss, I'm the leader, and it's my way or the highway. I've never done that, and I never will. And I think, a lot of people feel when you come in that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. And I think that's scary because we're in the industry that people don't like to change.
No, most people don't like change, especially technicians. Technicians do not like change.
So, okay, but you go in and you are, of course, going to change things because you're going to see things that you're like, this is not right. So how do you change them? Like, how do you execute? How do you?
So again, I don't go in and say, okay, we're doing it this way because I say so. So I will either talk to my shop foreman, talk to my lead advisors. I'll grab everybody together and I'll say, hey, what do you think about this? We're doing this, and this is the result we're getting. How about we try this? And this is what could be our potential results. So I always give them a reason why I'm going to do something. And, in some cases, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. At least we try. But I always involve my team of why I'm making that decision. Why are we going to do it this way? Here's what the benefit will be. Here's how it'll help you out. Here's how it'll make your job a little more efficient. Here's how it'll make your job easier. I mean, we know being in this business, this job is not easy. Being an advisor is not easy. It's the hardest job in the dealership. Being a technician, we need technicians, obviously, and you have to work hard to make money because you're on flat rate. So when I make a decision, I still do it to this day. I always involve at least my leadership team, always involve them and see what they think about it. And I want them to shoot holes in it. I want them to think about it and say, shoot holes in it. If this is a bad idea, tell me why. Tell me what you think. And maybe your idea will work. And I'll always take, and I don't care who it is, whether it's an express guy, a lube guy, a guy who's been in the business a week, guy who's been in the business 20 years. Give me your ideas. Maybe your idea is better than mine. Because sometimes we don't see as leaders where we're in, the daily, every day, getting punched in the face, getting this problem, that problem, all day long. Sometimes we lose sight of things, and other people see things differently. So you take their ideas, and that's worked for me. It's always involving the team has always worked well for me.
Yeah. And what I gathered from that is you explain why, but also take into consideration their feedback as well. Because
Absolutely.
I've always learned if you don't know why you're doing something, no one is ever going to appreciate or do it for very long because they're not going to know why.
Right. You have to know why. Why, what, and think about it. This, and I'm sure everybody out there knows this. Human nature is what's in it for me. What's the benefit for me?
The results. Yeah. That makes sense. What is like thinking back, because you've been at a few dealerships because you've been in the industry a while. Is there a really big challenge that you ever faced in your career that you had to overcome that you could share so someone could learn?
Yeah, well, I'm actually in that challenge again now, and it's time consuming, and I knew what I was getting into when I came here because, places have reputations, but the place before here, I was there for 9 years, I think it was, but I knew that the customer service was horrible. The CSI was horrible. Just couldn't get work through the shop. And again, sitting back and observing and seeing and getting to know the people, I had to make a lot of changes. And the biggest challenge for me, and to this day, is firing somebody. I don't like doing it. And in my opinion, I think they fired themselves because I personally give people way too many chances, which is probably something I need to work on. And I know it's something I need to work on, but I always look for the best in people. And I know that inevitably I'm probably going to get rid of them, but I'll give them a shot. I'll give them a chance. We'll have conversations. But my biggest challenge is always the people. It's people and processes. Those are the two biggest things that I work on first. And it's people first. Because if I don't have the right people to build that internal culture, everything else is just never going to work. So that's the biggest challenge is, okay, I have this person doing this person's been here a while. They were here when I got here. Do I want to keep them? Do I want to do this? Do I want, so you have to make those tough decisions to make it better. And you have to go through, sometimes you have to go through some hard times, some people that maybe you shouldn't have hired or you shouldn't have kept longer than you wanted to keep them. And I'm sure everybody's been through it. But making that decision to, okay, we need to move on. We need to find more people. So that's, to me, the biggest challenge is finding the right people to do the job. Everybody says, oh yeah, I want to be an advisor. Okay. Do you know what's involved in being an advisor? They just say, oh, they make good money. That's okay. But there's a lot more to it than that. So it's you go through people, and again, that's my biggest challenge was always the people. But once you get in place, you're done.
It runs smoothly.
Yes.
I can see how that would be. And I think I hear that a lot is, finding the right people, but also when is the time to let that person go? Because I think we all have high hopes and we all want to help people. And there comes a time where you just you can't help them.
Right.
They've got to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
If they don't want to, I can't do it for them. And I've always empowered my team, my leadership team, my advisors, always to make a decision. One of the biggest questions that I've always asked them is, what would you do? If you were in my chair, what would you do? Well, I would do this. Then do it. You don't need me. Make the decision. Empower your people to make the decision. Whether it's right or wrong, whether you agree or not, I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to fire you. At least you're trying. At least you're trying to make a decision. We'll have a conversation. If I would have made a different decision, I would tell you why. You tell me why you made this decision and, what caused you to make the decision. We have a conversation and we figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. What are some of the opportunities you're seeing within, because I know you guys are working a lot on building the team and just kind of finding your rhythm, it seems like. And you're getting there. You've been there about 6 months, so I'm sure you've made progress knowing you.
Yeah, I have, knock wood.
Yes. So going into the rest of this year and then going into the next year, what do you see for fixed operations? I know we've historically been able to predict everything, but I feel like we can't now. It's so crazy.
Honestly, Kaylee, I watch your podcast, I watch other podcasts. I don't see how anybody could predict what this business is going to go to or where the future is going to be in this business, whether the cars going to be, are they going to be all electric? I don't know. Or technicians are going to be just fixing cars with laptops. I don't know. I do know the way we treat people has a huge impact on how our business is going to run. And back in the days where it was okay to, I don't know how to say this, and mother F somebody, it was okay back then, but you can't do that you can't. And if you find, the biggest challenge I feel, and I'm sure other people go through it, the biggest challenge I find is finding a young guy or girl that wants to succeed in this business, that wants to be in this business, that wants to have a career, not just, okay, I'm going to come here, I'm going to, make my money and then find another job. I want somebody that wants this as a career, that wants to learn, that wants to be coachable, that wants to, grow within the company. Because to me, honestly, I pride myself, and I just had this conversation today with the COO. It's I pride myself on, which is more satisfying to me than money. And I know we need money and want to make good money and work hard for it. However, I'd rather it makes me happy to watch somebody grow, and be able to buy a house. What are your goals? What do you want to do? And as leaders, we need to do that. And I feel that's been a forgotten habit from us leaders, is find out what drives our people, especially our technicians. When was the last time somebody said to a technician, I appreciate what you do. I appreciate everything you do, and I need you. And thank you for doing what you do. That goes a long way. I mean,
it does.
I just sometimes feel this business has forgotten about that, or actually never even had that. I see it's getting there a little by little. I see more people, as I watch some videos and stuff and read on LinkedIn and everything, that more people are gearing towards that of appreciating your team, and you have to appreciate your people. That's the most important thing to me, because this business, it's evolving, it's changing, everything's getting to electric, and the warranties are extended, and now, in my opinion, after COVID, people are harder to please. It's harder to please the consumer nowadays. They just expect this. And I tell my team, I said, when a customer comes into this service drive, any service drive, they expect nothing but the worst treatment ever. So if you give them just a little bit more, you're golden. Just go that little extra mile and you'll be golden, because they don't expect a lot from you, but give them a lot. And it won't take a lot to give, because the business itself, the way we treat people, car dealerships, all that stuff. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not. I like to keep it simple. I don't want to make it so confusing where somebody comes in and says, okay, what do I need to do? What do I got to do? Let's keep it simple.
Yeah. And to be simple, communicate well. I think there's a huge, what was I going to say? Just like a huge opportunity in realizing what the different generations are looking for. Because I was on a recent podcast or interview where they were talking about how they're putting a focus on the generation. I don't know which generation it is. I don't know. What's the
I was thinking about that. I don't know the Generation Z.
X, Z? I don't know.
Is it Generation Z now or is it X?
Oh, I'm looking it up.
Google it.
I'm Googling it right now. I know I'm millennial and then there's one after me.
Well, I'm well before you. I think I'm Generation X, I think. I don't know what I am.
Yeah, Z is the one right now. Zoomies. They're calling them Zoomies. That's what it is.
Those are the new generation.
That's the new generation. And I think what they were saying was it's like coming in late, an hour late and leaving like a little early is the equivalent to taking a whole Friday off. So like that means more to them than like something like that. So it's like learning what people we can't put everyone in a box because everyone is gonna work differently or want to work differently. And I think that's what our industry is doing. We're realizing that there are those differences and we can't just beat people up and expect them to work.
No, especially like I said, the new generation, what is it, Z?
Z.
Yeah. New generation, and I've done some little bit of research and actually the last parts and service conference that Chrysler had down in Orlando last year, I think that I went, whichever year it was. But there was a guy that had talked about the generations. And one thing that stuck with me still was they don't, most of them don't care about the money. They want to be part of something big. They don't want, like my parents told me, go out, get a job, work hard, then you can move up. They want instant gratification. They want to make a lot of money right away. And in this business, I don't think you can do that. But if you give them a path and you make them part of something, that's what they want to be. They want to be part of something bigger. What do I need to do to get where you are? What do I need to do to grow in the business? They just want to be part of something big. And like you said before, to have a day off and spend time with the family or do whatever you want to do is better than paying them more money. They would rather have the time off. And some people will agree, some people won't. I've seen if you give them the time off, they love it. If you give a couple hours, like I had places where I was before, they were closing at 6 on Saturday and it was crazy. I got them closed at 4. That 2 hours made everybody so much happier. And it's 2 hours on a Saturday that you worked every other Saturday. But it's 2 extra hours.
That's amazing. 2 extra, yeah. You probably still have more day. It's more daylight.
Right,
you could actually go out to dinner.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's time when it comes to, I think when it comes to your team, it's we're here long enough. I mean, 10, 12 hours a day in this business, 13 hours sometimes. It's a lot. It's a lot of hours. It is.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do we make that look really good for the next generation that doesn't want to work 13 hours?
Right. I see you say that so politically correct. The younger generation doesn't want to work. And you're right. It's like, what happened to the work ethic? So if you find that young kid that wants to work, and knock wood, we've got, out of the 4, we probably have 2, maybe 3 that have a good work ethic, that are here, that want to actually learn.
Why do you think that we're losing this work ethic? You don't have to have the right answer. I'm just like, where is it?
I think it's become, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, after COVID, it seems like it's easier for people not to want to work, which blows my mind. Like, how could people not want to go to work? How could they come to work and not take pride in what they do? Because your name is on that. I just had a meeting with the advisors yesterday and the technicians. It's like, your name is on this. Take pride in it. I mean, your name is on it. Your tech number's on it. Take pride in what you do. But for some reason, we lost that, work hard and, work hard, or, work more than what you're getting paid for, and you'll eventually get paid for what you're worth. And I believe
Yeah.
it's because one of the biggest pet peeves of mine is when somebody says that's not my job. I,
Oh,
I hate that. That is the worst thing you could tell me, because there's plenty of things that have not been my job that I've done that aren't
yeah.
and I don't want to tell you the things that I've done. It's, some of it's disgusting, some of it's, but even within the dealership, whatever it may be, it's like, I don't care. I'll clean the bathroom. Don't care. I'll change oil if I have to. Don't care. I'll pick up garbage. Because they always say, when you see somebody outside the dealership picking up garbage, it's probably the owner. And they're right. Because most people walk right by it. Why? Take pride in it. This is your workplace. This is your place of work. You come here every day, 10, 12 hours a day. Why not make it pleasant?
But we don't know why.
Oh, and honestly, Kaylee, I don't know why. I don't know if it's our fault as parents. I don't know if they, because and I'm sure you've heard this, and I've heard people say it. It's. I feel that sometimes the younger generation feels entitled, like we owe them something.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah,
And no, no, I didn't feel anybody owed me anything. I had to work for everything I have. I had to work hard, and there are some younger generation people that do have that thought process. And in my opinion, and people can agree or disagree, but I think it's the way they're brought up by their parents. And,
I would agree with that a little bit, because my mom works at a school, and she, schools are paid by attendance, and some of the parents are just like so lax about getting their kids there, or like taking time off and all these things, which I think is from COVID. But it's like, if you're going to live that lifestyle, do an online school. Don't, have
Right.
your kid go occasionally to school
Right.
kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Or,
So I do think,
my kid would never do that. And my kid would never do that. No, definitely not my child. It's your fault.
yeah. Yeah, I do think that the COVID has put us in that I don't know what to call it, but
Yeah, I don't either. And I don't know if anybody has a reason why, or a right reason, or a right answer for that question. I don't know. And I'm sure there's
no,
plenty
there
of
is no
opinions
right.
out there. I don't think there's any
Yeah,
right or wrong. It's just something that we have to deal with and figure out, how do we, like in our own little bubbles, our own little worlds, how do we make it better? I do like
exactly.
the way that most people in this industry are gearing more towards taking care of their people, taking care of their employees, and not just, I'll go find somebody else. Because nowadays you can't just go find somebody else. Years ago, everybody was a dime a dozen.
Maybe that's part of the problem, where people are like, no, it's hard to find people. So they're like, well, you can't find people, so this is what you get.
Right. Well, and to piggyback on that, it's like, okay, I get you, and I need people, and I need somebody that can fog a mirror. Yes. However, if I get rid of you, is it going to make it better for me, or is it going to be worse for me? In my
Yeah.
opinion, if you got a bad seed, get rid of them. I'd rather work.
Exactly.
When I tell my management team, I tell my team, I would rather work with 5 people that want to work than 15 that don't. Would rather.
Yeah, because those people are creating more work for you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Making it hard. Oh man. Okay, we could probably talk about that forever.
Yeah. No, we could.
So I've asked you what's going on with the future of fixed ops, and no one knows. So we're just gonna people.
Has anybody ever answered that question with the I got it?
I know exactly.
I know exactly.
No, but I think we're on the right track of like focusing on people, culture, going to schools, educating people on the fact that this industry is really great for having a career, and sometimes even without a college degree.
I was just going to say that. I was thinking the same thing. This is the only industry where you can, maybe there are all other industries that you can earn a good 6-figure income without a college education.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people realize that.
No.
So
no,
yeah.
They don't. And there's some people out there that don't want to put forth the effort to get better or better themselves. I had one of my advisors, brand new, and like I told you, I had 7, but she's brand new, and answered the question last night on the meeting. She goes, how did you get to where you are, or how did you get as good as you are? And I'm like, I invested in myself. I listened to people. I listened to podcasts. I listened to audiobooks. I read books. I invested in my craft and I mastered my craft. That's how I did it. I still learn. I'll learn from them. I'll learn from anybody. I'm not above anybody. I will always learn. 40 years in this business, I still learn. I don't care if they've been in the business a year, been in the business 50 years, I still learn from everybody. But some people don't want to take that effort to do that. And I think they just want it done the easy way. And if it's easy, it's not worth it. It's going to be hard. No matter what, if it's worth it, you're going to have to struggle and it's going to be hard. And I've seen some of the comments that even you make. It's like, I got to go through this, this, and this, and it sucks. Sometimes it does suck. It does. But you know what? I'm going to go through it and I'm going to get there and I'm just going to keep on going forward. And then in another year, you look back and say, damn, wasn't that bad. I went through it and I made it.
Absolutely. It's hard work, but it pays off.
I
even heard from some other dealerships out there too that they are focusing more on their people, but also providing them more with that like self-help, because it always starts with the person. As long as they can have a good life and feel happy with themselves, everything else falls into place. So like providing like book clubs or meetings where you're not just talking about your results and goals for work. You're actually like, how can you improve as a human being?
Right.
Like, what are you focused on?
And I asked my team, and I've asked plenty of people the question. It's like, what is your why? Why do you get up every day and go? And sometimes I don't say it politically correct because I do curse a lot in this industry and I won't do it here, but it's like, why do you get up every day and get kicked in the face? Why do you come to work every day? And if it's for the money, it's way too small. What's burning inside your gut? What is your why? And as leaders, we need to find that out. Because now we know now I'll know what drives you. Now I'll know what buttons to push with you to make you work harder, to make it worth it when you go through bad time.
How do you find that why besides asking what's your why? Because I honestly, I don't hate that question, but I don't. I just
Sorry.
no, it's fine. Because I don't hate things. When someone asks me that question, I'm like, there's lots of reasons why.
And it might very well be, but you've got to figure out like one answer yesterday was, I want to be able to buy my own house and I want to be able to prove to my family that I can do it. Okay, that's a damn good why.
That's a good why, yeah.
A good why.
Okay.
But you find out by asking, by talking to them, by building relationships with them. And I've always, as a service manager, service director, even as an advisor, I every morning I go and say hello to everybody. And I would walk around and say, hey, how was your night? Hey, how's this? How's this? And if they talk about something that happened, hey, how did that go? How's your cat?
Yeah.
How's whatever? You had cow had babies. How's the babies? And wow, you remembered that stuff. So that's where you start building a relationship. And people will open up to you. Eventually they will. But every day, that's what I do. I walk around, say good morning to all the technicians. How was your night? What's going on as family, blah, blah, little small talk. Little chit chat.
I also think that's really important too, because if something tragic or something bad has happened in their life, you're able to understand, okay, they're acting in that way because they're actually going through some stuff. So you give them a little bit more grace.
Exactly. Well, it's true. Yeah. I mean, I had something happen to an advisor yesterday and she actually told me why this situation upset her. And she had every right to get upset. It's just something I'm not going to go into it. But she told me that. I was like, that makes sense. But if I didn't build that relationship with them, they would never come to me and tell me, and I wouldn't be able to help them and figure it out with them. But you're right. It's like, it's just same thing when you talk to a customer. Tell the advisors, build that relationship with them. They come in here, they're mad. They're not mad at you. They're mad at something else. They could have lost a child. They could have lost a grandparent. Something could have tragically happened in their life. But if you take the time to talk to them, they will divulge the reason why. And that's when you have gotten the relationship built with that customer. Same thing you have to do internally, because in my opinion, if we don't build this internal culture, it's never going to work out there. CSI is always going to be hard. You have to build that culture first.
They're just robots out there working if you don't do that.
No, it's true. They just go through the process and that's it.
And
we can't have that, especially in this business.
No, we can't. And I think this has been really a great conversation. To wrap up, I always like asking a couple personal fun questions. Okay. So I already know you're a daily driver, so I don't ask that. I always love asking people that because I feel like in the car business, at least for me, I always want to drive like all the new ones. I'm like, but I never do. But I'm always like, oh, that would be such a cool car. Could I drive that one for a
Yeah.
week?
Yeah.
So you drive your Jeep
I drive a
person,
Jeep
right?
Gladiator. Yes.
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 Yeah. I won't say my Bronco's better.
Love my Jeep Gladiator. I can't say I don't. I do.
Does it have a wobble? Just
No, I
kidding.
actually only lifted it maybe 2.5 inches. I didn't change the suspension. I didn't change the bigger tires, but I didn't change the size of the rims because I knew working with Chrysler that death wobble was hard. It is bad enough. I mean, it's a Gladiator, so it's on a 1500 frame, so it's not horrible. It's not like, bouncy all the way. It's okay.
No.
Is it noisy?
I just have
A little bit, because the tires, but whatever. I didn't buy it.
love it. Exactly. And the tires you can't do anything about that. That just makes it. Yeah.
Well, I went with Nittos, which were 35% quieter, but whatever. They're still noisy.
Our tires are noisy too.
Yeah.
I have appreciation for all vehicles, especially off-road vehicles, because I think they're all amazing. So
They are. Yep. They are.
They are. Okay, so what about how would your I don't know. How would your grandma describe what you do? I don't know. I don't want to if it's a sore subject.
Well,
I
my
don't
grandma?
know. Yeah, your grandma. Is she alive?
No, but how would she describe what I do? She'd probably say I work a lot. I'm a hard worker. I work a lot.
But like,
it's funny because I just had a conversation with a friend of mine. It's like, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm working. I'm working till this time. He goes, do you own the place? And he actually owns his own business. I'm like, no, Tony, I don't. I'm just, this is me. This is what I do. Yeah, my grandma would just probably describe it. I work hard. And I work a lot.
Would she know like the auto, like, would she be like something with cars or?
Probably not. Sometimes I try to explain stuff to my wife and she's like, whatever. She'll say the situator. I said, yes, that's what it is. Yes. It's the Finnegan pin. Yes, that's it.
Oh, you know what I've always appreciated about fixed ops and service people, even parts people? You can just hear a noise in a vehicle and just know what it is.
Yeah. Hey, what's this? What do you think this is? I don't know.
Or we're like, wait, I'll listen. Yeah, I think I know what that is. Yeah. I find myself doing it too because my husband's in the business, so like he'll point things out, and then so now when I'm out and about, I'm like, ooh, they have an exhaust leak.
Yeah, well, that's true. Or I'll drive. I'll sit at the stoplight. I'll look at the tires. Needs tires. Probably needs brakes. Yeah. Or you smell the oil.
Yeah, or you hear like a clicking noise. I'm like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah. What's that? Or an engine knock or something like that, or a valve tick. Yeah.
Yep. I appreciate it. I think it's really cool. It's like a doctor, like, when you describe an issue with your body, they're like, oh, it could be this, or this.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing. Okay, my last question is, let's see. Oh, if you could compare yourself to an animal, what would it be? And why?
Oh, that's a tough question.
I know it's so hard. You could be like a spirit animal. It could be like magical. If you were.
I'd say, it's just going to sound messed up, but I'm loyal. So dogs are pretty loyal.
Okay. I've heard that one before. Yeah.
I am very loyal. It's one thing I am. I don't, if I find, and you can see by my resume, you haven't seen it, but I don't have too many jobs unless when I moved to Florida, yes. But other than that, I'm loyal to people that are loyal to me.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yes, I'd be a dog, but whatever. Maybe a lion. I don't know. It's a tough question.
I think a dog's a good fit. And I've heard quite a few leaders, especially fixed op directors, say that they're a dog.
Doesn't sound good. You dog.
No, dogs are good. They're tough.
They are loyal. They're always happy. They're always happy to see you. They're never in a bad mood.
Yeah, they love food.
They love food. So my wife always says, you're always positive, this, that, and the other thing, and we got rainbows out your butt, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's better than being negative. To me, I've thought this even when I was an advisor, it's like, if I go in with a positive attitude, I have a great day. If I go with a bad attitude, my day is horrible. And I truly do that. Truly.
I I 100% believe there's so much positive and negatives that it's just,
Right.
it's all how you look at it.
Right.
It really
Exactly.
is.
It is. Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Is there
Thank you for having
anything
me.
that you wanted to add as we wrap it up?
No,
Anything that
I'm
you
good.
wanted to add?
I enjoyed it. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you
I've watched
coming.
your podcasts.
Well, thank you. That's really cool to hear because sometimes I'm like, I don't know if people are actually watching.
No, I watch them.
But
I listen to them. Sometimes I might put them down in the background while I'm doing something to listen. They're like, "Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Ooh, yeah." They always find something, right? Somebody always
Absolutely.
will come up with a good idea.
Absolutely. I think podcasts are my favorite thing because you're always learning something from someone.
Yeah, absolutely. Always. Yes. Yeah.
That's cool. If anyone wants to find you, I'm assuming LinkedIn is probably a good place because that's how we met.
Yes, that's true. All my information is there.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
No problem, Kaylee. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. PartsEdge, the power tool for your parts department. We hope you're leaving feeling motivated, challenged, and inspired.